On a search for a missing nuclear weapon, the U.S. government has deployed drones over New Jersey, frantic, searching for radioactive signatures that could help them identify the lost nuclear warhead. That's the rumor going around, at least, and I'm going to tell you outright, it is most likely not true. I say most likely because I have to reserve some realm of, it's possible, but just very, very, very unlikely that there is a nuclear material emitting a gamma wave signature because someone stole a nuclear weapon or there's a dirty bomb. I really do not believe it. And I'll tell you why, my friends. There's a bunch of conspiracy theories circling what these drones really are doing all over the New Jersey area near New York. There was an Air Force base that had to shut down operations because of a drone sighting. New York is launching an early drone detection system. My friends, I will tell you the most likely scenario here is that government is probably flying some drones for something, I don't know, maybe a small handful, a few dozen in various areas for testing purposes. Universities may be doing the same. It is infinitely more likely that it is just a decentralized group. It's just people flying drones of various types. That seems to be what makes the most sense. But if you want to get conspiratorial on me, man, the idea that there's missing radioactive materials and there's a panic going on because Iran may have smuggled a dirty bomb, I'm going to tell you why I don't think that's true. Okay. Some are saying it's a false flag attempt, that there will be some kind of detonation or disaster, which will be used to get us into World War III, and Iran or Russia will be the culprit. The reason why I don't buy that is because the government would be coming out right now and saying we have received credible threats from Russia and Iran on U.S. soil, and we are now taking it very seriously. We have launched drone early detection systems for your safety. Ladies and gentlemen, no need to panic. Now, I've had some conversations with people about this, and the argument is usually, yeah, but people would freak out. They'd flee New York. The economy would be devastated. And that's true, but think about what would happen if, I don't know, a bomb did go off and it killed lots of people. Everyone would then say you knew and you didn't warn anybody, and that would actually strike at the credibility of the government. Not that they're very credible to begin with, but if the idea is to launch a false flag in order to get us into World War III, doesn't seem very likely. There is another possibility. If it really is about finding a missing dirty bomb or rogue dirty bomb, perhaps it's real. Now, that's a scarier thought because that is actually substantially more likely than a false flag operation or anything like this. If the government got credible intelligence that there was a plot to detonate a nuclear device or dirty bomb in a major metro area, this is probably how they would respond, to be honest. I mean, you deploy some drones for detection, do sweeps, and you wouldn't say anything because you're hoping to avert a crisis before you cause a panic where everybody flees the eastern seaboard. Now, with all that being said, I got to tell you guys, I think the simple solution here is that it's likely just a bunch of different reasons. Seriously, there's probably different government agencies flying drones, hobbyists flying drones. Many of the sightings are probably just airplanes. Look, I don't believe it for a second. People were posting the corona. Do you guys know what the corona is? Okay. Sometimes when it's a bright full moon, doesn't have to be a full moon, you will see a beautiful ring around the moon when you look up, like a bubble. It's called the corona. It's a lunar corona. It is a phenomenon that happens when moonlight is refracted through light or whatever. Many say it signals that rain may be coming soon. And sure enough, this weekend, we had a beautiful lunar corona. And then sure enough, it snowed like, I don't know, an inch or two, and then rained, kind of sucked. So it's sludgy, but it is still very snowy outside. And that's what people were saying. But I saw all of these posts from people being like, I don't know what's going on with these drones, but there's a ring above the moon right now, or around the moon. And it's like, are people looking up for the first time in their lives? And they're like, what's up? I don't know what that is. And it's like, it's there. Just look up. I'm not kidding, dude. I think a lot of this is mass hysteria. There's something real behind what the drones are doing, perhaps, but I think there's a lot of mass hysteria that people heard about drones, started filming everything. And I got some videos to show you. And they're fake. There's one video that went viral from ABC News. It's not that they're fake. One viral video from ABC News where it shows this pulsating orb, which looks like a static orb flying in the sky. And it's just a camera issue. Anybody who's worked at cameras knows you just zoom in on a light and it looks like that. I find it fascinating, really. I do think, however, the initial drone sightings probably are something real. I don't know that it's going to be for nuclear detection, but hey, we don't know. And with that being said, I think y'all should just take moderate precautions and be vigilant, but be pragmatic. Sometimes there could be a disaster right in front of us, and you're not going to see it coming. But you look for the signs, you hope for the you hope for the best, you prepare for the worst, and you live your life. There's no reason to be terrified of whatever this is, but let's take a look at this story. We have this from Newsweek. Mystery drones could be trying to find radioactive material, aerospace CEO. We actually have numerous experts chiming in saying in their expertise, it looks like this is a search for nuclear material. The recent epidemic of reported drone sightings across New York and New Jersey could be due to potential gas leaks or radioactive material, one subject matter expert said. Reports of mysterious drone sightings in multiple states have drawn widespread attention from lawmakers and members of the public in recent weeks. John Ferguson, the CEO of Saxon Aerospace, a drone manufacturer in Kansas, weighed in on the topic in a TikTok post that has gone viral. The FBI said it has received more than 3,000 tips regarding drone sightings, with the majority of these reported observations happening at night. In his 9-minute video, Ferguson offered an assessment of the drone, saying the only reason an unmanned aircraft would be flown at night was if its operator was looking for something. No. I'm sorry, guys. Look, the truth is we just don't know. This is why, people get so mad at me when I'm just like anti-conspiracy theory. Look, I believe conspiracies exist. I believe the mainstream media, the corporate press is lying to us all the time. But right now, we don't know anything. And there is likely, in my opinion, recreational drone enthusiasts flying drones at night because you can and you don't need to be looking for something. There's probably military-grade research drones and technology. Sure. Some of these may be some type of detection, but I don't think it's one thing. Now, I'll be honest, if it is a government conspiracy, I'm going to go and say the conspiracy is likely to create a hysteria around drones to get a law passed that's likely going to restrict the use of drones in particular cases or to create law. Because this is just like, for those that are fans of The Simpsons, Bear Patrol. A bear comes into the city and trashes things. Everybody panics, even though bears almost never come into the city. And then they decide to tax everybody and launch the Bear Patrol. That's what you do. So right now you've got these drones. Everybody's losing their minds, and the government can step in and say, we need a drone task force, a drone early detection system. We are going to launch this program. We're going to sign this law, and everyone's going to clap and cheer. When in reality, maybe it's nothing. Now, what I can't say is if this really was, look, I tell you this, the government knows exactly what's going on. Dude, the idea that a large SUV-sized drone could launch from somewhere and fly around, and they would not know where it came from or where it went, is silly. Come on. We've had the capability to track objects like this for 100 years. I mean, maybe not 100 years, but like 70 years. Come on. Quote, my own guess is that these drones are not nefarious in intent. If they are, but I doubt it. But if they are drones, the only reason they'd be flying and flying that low is because they're trying to smell something on the ground. Now, it's just people want to believe what they want to believe, man. There's 1,000,001 reasons to fly drones low to the ground. I'm sorry. It's just with recreational drones available at your local Best Buy. I know we're not talking about small mag drones for the most part. We're talking about big, weird drones. Some of the reports are that these are manned aircraft. They could be quad-rotor-based manned aircraft that some... Look, let's say you have one guy flying it's not even a drone, a quad-rotor personal carrying device, and he lands. A bunch of people reported to the feds. He has no idea anybody reported. I mean, he think he's going to do anything wrong. Where we lived, the old studio, right off I believe it's the Potomac River, you have gyrocopters flying through like a couple times per day. And they're weird-looking little aircraft. And it's cool because the elevation of the studio, it's actually like, I think it's like 100, 200 feet. And so at the river, when you look out the window, you see them at eye level flying past. And we're just like, yeah, it's a gyrocopter. I mean, I guess they don't fly at night. But let me show you a little bit what we got here. Drones looking for Ukrainian nuclear bomb. Drone manufacturer's shocking claim goes viral. Yeah, guys, I really don't think so. A surge in mysterious drone sightings. Chef Andrew Gruel says, to summarize 10 minutes professional with drone experience working with the military, as an inside source says a nuke went missing from Ukraine. He thinks it's here in the U.S. and drones are sniffing around for it literally by flying low and at night. Also, the guy who posted this will probably be in jail in 2 hours. Now, there's this viral thread here from Jersey Futures, an anonymous thread from an anonymous person that nobody knows. Long Jersey Retired Fin Systems, bank, fund, compliance, clearing, blah, blah, blah. And making a similar claim. Maybe. That's all I could say. Maybe. But I'm honestly not really convinced. Low and at night does make sense in a certain regard. The argument is that the heat differential at night between an object that has absorbed a lot of heat will be more apparent at around dusk. So during the day, if there's an object absorbing sunlight, it's going to heat up. When the sun finally breaks at dusk, the temperature around everything else starts to cool rapidly, but an object made of metal likely would retain much of that heat for longer, giving you a heat signature you could track. This viral thread, strangely, was deleted. The account was deleted, but then reinstated. And it's got 2.5 million views with 2.7K retweets. This account claims, I'm one of a few groups who know exactly what the drones are in New Jersey. This tweet will go into the void as I have no followers, but I'll share anyways. What you're seeing are American-made HPGE nuclear detection drones. All right, well, let's do a search for that. Well, we got HPGE drone. Let's see if we can find an image of said drone. So we have an image here. It's hard to see. Let me pull up the full website. You can get a look at what this drone is. Radiological Survey Remote Sensing Fixed Wing UAV Platform. And here we go. So it's kind of hard to see. This photo is not very good. But they do look like strange little objects. So for the average person looking up, this is something that's going to trigger a report. What is this weird-looking fixed-wing aircraft thing? The account says, they can detect the presence of gamma rays miles away, but what is a gamma ray? That's the stuff we attribute to radiation. Electromagnetic waves that penetrate you and cause cancer. That's right, it's called ionizing radiation. And the thing you need to understand about radioactive waste, fallout, and dangers is that there's alpha particles, beta particles, and gamma wave radiation. I am no expert, but I had to learn this when I went to Fukushima in Japan. In the late 2000s, the DoD needed a response to the threat of dirty bombs from ISIS coming into our ports. They've been stocking up on these drones for a while. Some were deployed to Ukraine when Russia threatened to use dirty bombs. They look weird because they're heavy and have giant cryo-coolers mounted and a giant horn antennas to communicate on millimeter wave frequencies that can't be jammed. This is where I come in. The technology these drones use have few suppliers, both for millimeter wave equipment and high-purity germanium. Germanium, huh? The same suppliers that are the backbone of my industry. So what are they doing? Collecting information in how public will react, PSYOP, and testing their ability to sweep a port city like New York for dirty bombs. This actually seems rather plausible, and that's why it went viral. This individual is saying, there's not a dirty bomb, there's not a nuke, it's a testing operation, and the reason they're not telling you what's going on is they need to know how the public reacts to a lack of information, and they need to see what these drones can actually pick up. Jersey was chosen because we're the closest port to New York City, and New York would be too dense for reliable millimeter wave communications. But why is DoD silent? Again, because in a scenario where we have a threat of a dirty bomb and the public doesn't yet know, the DoD needs to know how the public would react if these were deployed to sweep a city. What many don't realize is Ukraine is the reason we're here. That was the first time we deployed them in a combat zone, but make no mistake, they're for protecting the homeland, as DoD bought hundreds of thousands to act as swarms capable of sweeping a city. I'm sorry for all the typos. I'm on the train without my glasses, and it's very bumpy. I had to get this off my chest, as all day I'm hearing people genuinely afraid of the drones when they should be in awe of the capabilities we have as a country. And as for the nerds who know a bit about what I'm talking about, take a look at a close-up of the drones. They operate in a grid both to sweep areas, but also because comms are done in a mesh network operating at 200 gigahertz plus. Wow. that is millimeter wave frequency, which is very directional and needs bulky horn antennas mounted. Indeed, it does. So higher frequencies excuse me, have shorter ranges. Mesh communications make sense because one drone. So if you have 4 drones, the range is not going to be particularly great in broadcast. The lower the frequency, the further it can go, but the less data it can carry. So if they're using very high frequency, that seems very high. I'm not an expert on this, but that's a very high frequency. Then drone 1 tells drone 2, who tells drone 3, and tells drone 4, creating a mesh network so they can communicate rapidly. He says, I'm not a military expert, but spent a third of my career as an RF engineer. We only hired in military, telecom, finance, etc. Make no mistake, a dirty bomb is or was until now the greatest threat to America. A few going off in New York City and central LA would cripple us. The evidence we'd need to respond in kind would be impossible to get in time or at all. All our toys would be worthless with no target. Oh, and how do I know they're not foreign owned? Well, because I'm confident they're HPGE drones. But even if you don't believe me, you can see they have bright lights on them to keep our air traffic safe, something an enemy wouldn't care about. Completely agree. So again, I don't know for sure. It's a thread on the internet, but take a look at this stuff. I'm going to play this video from ABC.
When things like this are happening, it seems everyone starts to look up, like my crew and I have been here in Mendham recording this video that you're looking at right now. We have no idea what it is, if it's a natural phenomenon, because it could be, but this is why so many municipalities are now asking people to reach out and send their videos to them or to X.
Okay, so on the screen, there is a strange pulsating orb that looks like it's a static ball flying in the sky. I had to tell you, but people are looking up for the first time, and many of them with cameras. We have reader-added context here. Former fighter pilot and C.W. Lemoyne points out that when the full video is seen, the strobing lights of an airliner are seen. The point being, distant and out of focus gives it the orb-like appearance. This is a common issue when viewing distant objects like stars and planes. Yep. This is what happens when you point a camera and zoom in on a plane. It's out of focus. And so what should be a point of light widens because it's blurry. And that is normal. Now, we are getting crazy stories, however. People are starting to freak out. The mass hysteria is going wild. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio shut down due to unauthorized drone activity in the area, which says to me, if anything, this is a training operation combined with consumer-grade drone use, combined with mass hysteria, and probably an effort by powerful government interests, members of Congress or otherwise, who want to get laws put in place over drone use. That's it. At the very least, maybe they want funding for drone programs. So we're hearing now that New York is deploying a drone early detection system due to these sightings. You see how this works? You get mass hysteria, whether it's true or wrong, whether it's legit or it's fake. You can have mass hysteria over something that's really happening. But you get a lot of people freaking out and asking these questions. Then the city can come in and say, due to the possible threat of foreign adversaries or who knows what these drones are, we need drone detection systems installed in our cities to monitor them. They're also going to want to put into place restrictions on drones and tighten up who's allowed to fly them. That's going to be extremely important moving forward as we start getting into the drone delivery system era. So in the early days of flight, imagine this. It's 100 years ago. You are in, where are you? You're in North Carolina in the Outer Banks, and you're trying to fly, and you build a device that can. What I hear is that when they were first trying to figure out how to fly, they wanted to turn by turning left and right, like in a car. Then they realized it's all about banking, and that changed everything. And so there were general ideas that people had about gliding, and, we understood this a little bit. And then finally, they figured it out, the airfoil. They were flying around with no regulation, and people just saw them fly overhead, and it was kind of wild to watch. Now we have very dense cities and jets and other flying devices, so we very much have to regulate this space. Less people will be crashing, and a whole bunch of other crazy nonsense will be happening. Drones are in their Model T phase. It's very, very early, and people are flying drones like crazy all over the place. In the early days of drone flight, I could launch my drone from anywhere for any reason, but we weren't stupid enough to fly it near an airport, although people did. So the FAA comes in and they say, guys, these are aircraft. They are. So there's going to be restrictions. Overnight, without my understanding is there were no laws passed. They just said flying an aircraft requires a license, and you had to be a pilot to fly a license. The funny thing is, I was consulting the government, and they were like, Okay, now we have rules about who's allowed to fly and you can't. And I'm like, my guy, I'm consulting you. Like, you asked me to give you my expertise. I fly drones. And they were like, well, you need a pilot's license now. I thought it was funny. And that's typically where I ended my drone journey. We'd done a bunch of experimenting and hacking with drones. We were using ground drones, my friends. I had this little device as a toy, and you could throw it. And it was a ball with two big wheels and a camera, and it would bounce and land upright, and it filmed. And I was like, so in news events, you could throw this, and you get a decent range, and you could have it go around and film stuff. It was fun. And we did that with aerial drones as well. With consumer grade drone use expanding, and there's no wireless underwater drones because these frequencies can't penetrate water. They have wired underwater drones. With this expansion, the government is going to want to lock this stuff down. But with a massive consumer potential, they don't want a backlash from many people who are in this industry. So you need a panic first. I'm not saying they manufactured the panic, man. I don't know. But I don't think the conspiracy theories are real. Let's just hope they're not. The fear is Trump's about to get into office. So maybe. I doubt it, though. You know what's funny is you have a lot of people. I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. I don't think these things are these conspiracy theories and these stories. They don't really pan out. I mean, that would be nuts, right? But who knows? I can only tell you, stay safe, stay vigilant, and we'll see. Maybe we won't. I don't know. But I'll wrap it up there. Smash the like button. Share the show with everyone. You know, we got more segments coming up for you. Next one at noon. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all then.